once our company decides that we are going to purchase Fusion applications, and our purchasing department team will go ahead and create the invoice with the Oracle, and Oracle gets the invoice, Oracle gets the payment confirmation. And what Oracle will do? Oracle will send an email to the service administrator. Oracle asks, okay, great, you are ready to buy the Fusion applications. Good, we are going to offer it to you. Then who is the service administrator of your company? They will take the name and their email address, and they send an email to the service administrator. The email, like what I'm showing you right now. It will send an email, hello, some XXX. They will say that you have assigned to this, you are assigned. Mishra, is that a question? Okay. It will say that you are designated as a primary service accountant and identity domain administrator of your organization for Fusion applications. And they will say that you are receiving this email, you are being a service administrator. Make sure you register your customer support identifier. Basically, they will ask to go to the Metalink Oracle support and register yourself. And okay. Is the class started? I'm not able to hear. Yes, it started. It started, Mishra. So yeah, it looks like Mishra can't hear what we are talking. Mishra, just confirm. Okay. Okay, they will get an email like this. Okay, so they'll get an email saying that you identified the administrator, and they will provide a username and password, a temporary password, and the domain name, and also they will provide the link. They will give a services URL link. Okay, they give this link, and they will say that this is the link given to you, and this is they have given the username and password for the administrator, and they will give the link to the administrator, and they will ask the administrator to go ahead. This is the link, this is the username and password. Go ahead and start using the Fusion applications. Okay, and also they will send a welcome note saying that what are the initial steps you have to start with your instance. So this is the typical email what a service administrator will receive. Okay, once service administrator receive this email, right? So now what next? What do we need to do? Okay, so what we need to do is a couple of things. Once service administrator receives email, they will provide the step-by-step instructions in the welcome note what needs to be done immediately. I think Mishra is back. Mishra, can you hear us? Mishra? Mr. Just confirm us over the chat window if you can hear us. If not, I will share the recording to you, maybe later point of time, and you can listen that. Okay, so once once service administrator got the link, administrator, what's the next step to do? So our company will think that, okay, shall we go ahead and do the implementation by ourselves, or shall we go ahead and engage some implementation partner, can be a consultant or can be other third party, to do the implementation for ourselves, right? So when it is decided, when it decided that, okay, we'll engage the implementation partner. Okay, maybe we'll engage some XX company to come and implement it, do the implementation to us, right? So what we need, what happens is the service administrator has some steps to do. Okay, so usually when they click on the welcome note, actually they will get back to this service administrator action list. This is the PDF they get. Okay, so this is the service administrator action list. Typically, administrator will receive. So this step one, they will say that verify access to your application, what are username, password sent to you, make sure it is working to you, and it will also say go and register in the support in the Oracle support, and make sure if you are not the administrator, verify access to administrator portals. I mean, the whatever link they have provided. And when the link read, there are two kinds of link will be there: my services, my account. My services is actually a portal through which you can navigate to the Fusion applications, and also where you can track how many logins are happening in the last 1 week, last 1 month, and also you can track how many people accessing how many, what modules, and number of hits to each module. There are many things where we can see in the my services, and my account will save for what are all the licenses you bought, and you have to, they will say go and check access to your to these portals. Those links will be provided in the email, and also they will say make sure you add a backup administrators, so that in your option someone else should make sure be the administrator. So that is step 3. And yeah, it's all about how to verify access to my services, how to add backup to administrators. It will be there in the, it's not a Fusion application, it's in that my services portal. It is a self-explanable. And again, step 4, add contacts to the notifications. In case you are administrator, you add a backup administrator, and if you need a notification sent from Oracle, it's not the Fusion notification, something Oracle is sending about license renewal, or Oracle is telling about we are taking outage on the Fusion applications, or Oracle is telling about, hey, upgrade is happening, please go ahead and schedule, to whom the notification should go. So they will say, and go ahead and add a notification, add contacts for notifications, who should receive that notification. These are all administrator activities. I'm just walking through what typically happens from beginning, the time you start the provisioning of Fusion applications, okay? And then step 5, make sure you are comfortable with the My Oracle support. My Oracle support is nothing but Metalink, and go ahead and register your CSI, client service identifier, and do that. And step 6 is a place we have to start reviewing their implementation. Okay, so if you buy HCM module, there are some steps to do. If you bought ERP module or sales or Risk Cloud, Logistics Cloud, based on what you bought, you will have some series of steps to do. Example, if you bought HCM module, then if you click on that link, it will go to your Metalink, which will have this Excel sheet. You will open this Excel sheet. This is the typical HCM Cloud Service Administrator checklist. This is the typical checklist what the cloud administrator, our company service administrator, should follow. Okay, so it's also same thing what we have seen our main checklist, and save environment access and emails, because whatever emails you have received at the beginning, make sure you save it, and whatever links is given, make sure you have saved it. And if you are not registered in the My Oracle support, go ahead and register for this. And similarly, if you're not current user, same thing, the registering to that. If your CSI, whatever it is given as part of this Fusion licensing, if CSI is not available, go ahead and add the CSI. And within the CSI, if you need to add any users, go ahead and add the users to the CSI. Okay, and then make sure you're comfortable with that. And then we should start looking at HCM implementation. Okay, here you need to decide, engage the implementation team. Are you going to work? Are you going to have a implementation team who can do it for you? Are you yourself are going to do that? Do this list of items? your implementation. Okay, who is going to do that? Based on that, the strategy will change. Okay, so and again, whenever you get that instance link, you get 2 instances. If you're using a typical HR implementation but not payroll, Oracle will give 2 instances. One is test instance, one is production instance. If you use payroll, or if you use finance, then you may need 3 instances. One is test, other one is stage, other one is production instance. So you have to make sure you got all the implementation, all the Fusion instances. Okay, and then what you need to do, check, log into that instance and make a sanity check for test instances and Fusion instances. Go to that links and make sure you do the sanity check, and add the backup administrator if you have any in your company. And if you're also the account, because there are 2 administrators, service administrator and account administrator. Service administrator is the place where actually, as I said, you can see how many people logged in, what are the domain are accessible, and to add any notifications like that. And we have my account is a place where licensing part. What are the licensing we have taken, and what is the renewal date for that, and what is the pricing for that, like that. Okay, so it's all about a typical checklist. So there's nothing related to Fusion application, just a general information what typical administrators will do at the beginning of acquiring the Fusion application links. Okay, and create additional contacts if you need to receive any notifications, and also make sure you're registered in the Customer Connect. Is actually a common portal where you can, similar to the Oracle community for EBS, other PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, we have also something called Customer Connect, where actually you can go ahead and register yourself and to see what is happening around the Fusion applications. And it is also a place where you can see people sharing across information about Fusion applications, like that. Okay, so these are typical steps up to till 13. These are typical steps of any administrator will do, and typical 14 is a place where creating the implementation users. Okay, so till now we are making sure everything is working good, everything is working perfect, all our links are working perfect. We have the proper modules licensing, and we have set up the proper notification, we have set up the backup administrators, we have created the CSI in the support portal, and adding ourselves into that typical steps of any software provision. Okay, once we do that, it is a place what Oracle suggests is create the implementation user.
So sorry, Lakshmi, one question. Does it have out of the box user, like there are only 2 users, XX admin and HCM admin?
Okay, so you were talking about come again the question.
Let's say we don't create any user. Is there anything out of the box which comes, like in Oracle EBS we have sysadmin?
Okay, gotcha. No, you won't get any. If it's a practical practice instance, maybe they'll give it. But if a real instance, you won't get any user out of the box. Everything you have to create on your own.
Okay, so then in your presentation, that XX admin, what is it actually?
I will talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I will talk about that. No worries. So what actually happens? Once everything is provisioned, once we decided we are going with our implementation partner, or if we decided we are going by ourselves, what typically we do, if it is an implementation partner, they also do the same steps. Even if we are planning to do implementation ourselves, we have to do these steps. So what is an implementation user? Okay, what is an implementation user means when we got the instance, right? When we got the instance, there is no information in the application. when there's no information in the application, no employee is created, no record is created, nothing is there. But we need to create a set of accesses into the application so that we can start with the implementation. In that case, we have to create with implementation users, and Oracle typically recommends at least create these three users. One is a OIM admin who will have access to Oracle Identity Management. Oracle Identity Management means who can create another user, or who can assign the roles to the user, who can take care of user life cycle, users and roles life cycle. Similarly, another user Oracle recommends to create a tech admin user who can perform a typical technical duties. Technical duties in sense who can go ahead and customize in the workflow, who can create the data roles, or who can do the functional setups for all the modules across, and they can also assign security roles to the users. So they will suggest to create tech admin. And another one is HCM user. As we are using HCM implementation here, our HCM cloud service administrator checklist, they will say that create a HCM user who can perform the key HR functional duties, including all the functional setups. So this is what Oracle recommends, to at least create 3 users at the beginning. Okay, 3 users at the beginning with some password, and make sure these 3 users are three users are available, and any implementation partner who is trying to start work with us, we will just give that, hey, these are the 3 users which I have created. Okay, and with these 3 users, they can start working on our Fusion implementation part. Because we cannot give our service administrator username and password, because it has many things linked to that, right? So we cannot give it. So what typically we do, we will create 3 users, and how to create the user, what roles we have to assign to the user, we'll talk about that. I'm just talking about in a overview. Oracle will say that typically create OI admin, identity administrator, and technical administrator, and HCM functional implementer. So these 3 roles Oracle recommend to go ahead and create it. Okay, once we create that, then technically we can share those user accounts to the main people who can go ahead and start working on the implementation. Okay, we will come back to this again. Okay, and what else we need to do after creating the users? Make sure, as I said in the last session, Oracle offers FTP server to stage data from a Fusion to the custom application or third-party application. Same thing. While getting data from third-party applications, we can also use Fusion SFTP server to stage data in the middle, right? I said that, but it is going to get decommissioned from December 2017 onwards, and no more SFTP server, and everything will be maintaining in the Universal Content Manager. So previously we used to have this, because whoever is receiving the emails today, they will have this step mentioned in their admin list. So then we have to check the SFTP is working good. SFTP, we are able to log into the SFTP server, and we are able to access the file structures there. Okay. And also you need to make sure what are the maintenance process and upgrade process, and understand that licensing agreements, all these things we have to make sure we have to be in touch. Maintenance process means if they're taking any outage, what are the steps we need to take? If any upgrade is happening, what steps we need to take? For everything, they have given a link here. So for everything, that administrator make sure they read the documentation and make sure they understood what it is. Similarly, review the key resources.
Sorry, you share this Excel, what you have it?
I think I can share this. So yeah, no worries. It's not something, it's a public one. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 minute. Back. Yeah, so right, so yeah, understanding the keep products. I mean, if release 12 is coming at what needs to be done, and also make sure schedule Oracle University classes. They will say that go ahead and take training in the Oracle. So these are typical steps we need to do. Okay. So, and if you remember, out of all this, our main work starts from here, creating the implementation users, right? This is the place we are going to begin with. My whole intention is to begin the security from this point. That is why I was talking about all these things, which may not make sense for some of us, but that's why I was telling. Okay, so yeah, the implementation users. That is the place I was trying to begin. I thought of beginning from slide 1, but I'm starting from slide 60 here. So the implementation users. So as I said, implementation users just typically administer users and security and manage implementation projects for Fusion application offerings. And these users are needed to set up basic enterprise structures to implement the offerings. When I say offering, that can be any module, can be HR, can be finance, can be HCM, procurement, purchase, whatever. Okay, and you have to remember, for implementation users, only user account exists, but no HR person record exists. Okay, so that is another thing we have to make a note. Okay, so as I said, when you provision Oracle for our company, administrator receive a link for the link and password. Once we get the password, we will have that checklist. Once we have the checklist, next step is to create the following implementation users. One thing, as I said, XX_admin, that can be OEM admin, or can be a tech admin, or can be whatever we decide. In our company, whatever way we are implementing our typical projects, in-house projects, or our ERP projects, based on that, whatever way we want to decide, we will segregate the duties across that, and we'll create the users. Okay, typically XX admin and HCM user. So typically, when I say XX admin, this kind of user is intended for technical super users and has the following roles. So these are the 4 roles which typically XX administrator will have. XX administrator can be OEM administrator, Oracle IND management administrator, or can be a tech administrator, right? So IT security manager, application implementation consultant, application diagnostic administrator, application diagnostic advisor. These 4 are seeded roles, nothing custom. Roles will come along with the Fusion products, but not the users. So we will create the admin user with these 4 kinds of roles. And what does IT security manager will do? We are going to talk about that. And what is the implementation consultant will do? We are going to talk about that. We will going to revisit what each role will do, and I'm going to show you where to look at what role can do what kind of things, what is a role, what does it do, how many roles we have. We're going to talk about that in a while. Okay, so I'm just talking overview here. And again, HCM user. I said HCM user is typically who can do the functional setups, right? So typically application administrator, application implementation consultant, diagnostic regulated user, diagnostic viewer. If you see here, HCM user, if you see it's a subset of in sense, XX admin is having the more powerful roles than HCM user. Because why I'm saying that, anyone who has IT security manager, that role we can say it is similar to the sysadmin access what we have in other EBS or PeopleSoft or JD Adverse, whatever. IT security manager role is nothing but a sysadmin kind of role, where we have full control to create users and their roles and anything. Okay, when we have the IT security manager in hand, we can do anything across the application. Okay, and similarly, application implementation consultant is another powerful role that will have access to any data across the application, across the Fusion application. Okay, this is very powerful role because it has access to every application across all the modules. Can be HR, can be finance, can be anything. Okay, so application implementation consultant is common between admin role and HR functional role. And what Oracle typically recommends, we are creating these roles only for the implementation. Once the implementation is complete, make sure these these application implementation consultant roles and application administrator roles are revoked and dated. Don't use it. Don't use it. Don't assign it for any employee, because whoever has assigned that user, they will have access to the data. Okay, data access should be restricted. Functionality, screen accesses, or sorry, user accesses, users and role accesses, or screens access is okay, but data access should be restricted. If your company is following the integrity policy, then data should be data access should be given to the respective module owners. If a HR user is there, then HR administrator will have HR data across all across the company. If it is a finance administrator, should have access to all the finance data, but one user should not have access to HR and finance. Typically, if our company demands it, we can do that. But in the real data integrity mechanism, they should not have access to all the modules. So to avoid that, revoke this access from the people, whoever it is assigned, once the implementation is completed. Okay. So, and instead of that, assign a role like human capital management administrator, assign those kind of role. That is okay, but don't assign application implementation consultant to across the or to any user once the implementation is completed. Okay, so right now what I will do, okay, I will talk about each of this role later point of time. Let me complete the implementation user, typical things what we need to do, and we will see how we can go ahead and create an implementation user. Okay, and other type of implementation users that you may want to create if our company demands. Like if you have a project manager whose access is to just assign the tasks, who won't do any work, but who can assign the tasks, who can assign offerings. Offerings means who can assign, hey, this module should be implemented by that lead. This module is implemented by that lead. Within that module, and this technical tasks should be taken care by person X, and this one is person Y. So allocating the tasks by creating the projects. Okay, so if we need to create those kind of a role, right, that is called implementation project manager role. But it doesn't, I mean, as I said, it's completely based on if you wanted to do that. Okay, so it's again whoever has IT security manager role. So if you have XX admin is created, this anyone who logs in with XX_admin or OEM_admin role can go ahead and create these roles, because once this role is created, so once this user is created, that user will have full control to create any other user or assign any role to other user. So what I do, once we created the XX_admin user, then they can go ahead and log in with XX_admin and then create this project manager role. Okay, so and also product family application administrator, main HR application administrator, finance application administrator, or SCM administrator, like that. So based on the product family, we can create each individual administrator, and then we can allocate the work to the administrators accordingly. Okay, so let's go into the instance. Let me show you how typically